Good morning. It is Wednesday, February 16th. I am headed to the airport. I have to catch a flight to San Antonio. Me and Landing are hosting a suite of meetup games, live streams. We're playing in some tournaments. We're doing some things down at Rounders. And guess what? It's 6 a.m. and I'm already late. I'm late. We did it. How we made it to the airport on time, beyond me. But it looks like we might make it to San Antonio. Maybe. So leg one of the trip to San Antonio is over. We have just landed in Dallas. I have an hour layover and I'm hungry. So I guess I'm glad I have a layover, huh? We have made it. We are here. We are in San Antonio. We are walking distance from Rounders, and we are dirty. So we're going to check into the room. We're going to put some water on this body. You're not going to see it this time. And then after we get clean, we'll get into a game. I'm lowering my voice because it's kind of annoying when people are in the hall and they're just talking. So, if I'm whispering now, it's not because I'm trying to make it sexy. It's because I'm trying to be polite. I'll talk to you soon. So we have arrived. I apologize for the wind, but I can't control that. Me, Cedric, the poker traveler. Day one at Rounders. Rounders Card Room, San Antonio. I apologize, Landon's not here yet. His flight doesn't land for another hour, but then he will be here. I think tonight's chill. I think tonight is just meet up, play some cash games, and then tomorrow is the stream. So, wish me luck as I make my first foray into Texas poker in 3 years. Here we go.
Did they take my
Hours I have been here. Hours. I've had 2 drinks. Landon's here now. I had some, what do we eat? Some chicken?
blackened chicken?
Blackened chicken was delicious, but now I think it's time to get into a game. What do you think?
I need to eat.
Landon's got to eat. Whole crew is here. But I'm getting into a game. We're going to do something. We're chilling tonight, though. We're not getting crazy. It's not the night to get crazy. It's travel day. Travel day, you don't get crazy. We get crazy tomorrow.
Here we are on day one at Rounders in San Antonio, Texas. We've already caught 2 flights, checked into the hotel, showered, met a bunch of cool people, and gotten registered to play. I don't normally play long sessions on travel days, so I took some time to relax, eat some food, had a couple drinks, and checked out the establishment. It's big. Bigger than it looks from the outside, complete with bar, full menu, barbershop, full golf simulator, outdoor patio, poker streaming area, etc. It's really quite impressive. Although a little tired, I didn't fly all the way to San Antonio to not play, so we jumped into a 1-2 game. Keep in mind, this is Texas, so it's not your normal 1-2. I bought into the game for $800 and I wasn't even close to being the big stack at the table. After a short period of filling out the table, probably about 2 orbits, I played my first hand. 3 limps and I look down at 8-6 of hearts from the cutoff and I make it $15. Probably a bit on the smaller side after 3 limps and 1-2, and definitely on the smaller side for Texas poker. The small blind calls and 2 of the limpers call, and we see a flop 4 ways. King, Jack, 3 with 2 hearts. Staying in flow action checks to me, and this isn't necessarily a bad board for my range. I bet $30 hoping to shed some pocket pairs and possibly win the pot right here. But if not, at least decrease the number of enemy combatants. The small blind calls quickly, the limpers fold, and my likely 4th place hand just jumped to 2nd place. The turn pairs the jack, and I'm not a fan. The small blind checks, and that sounds good to me as well. Check. The river 6 is interesting as now I have a pair, which could possibly now be the best hand. The small blind takes this opportunity to lead for $50, and I think back to how San Antonians clowned my boy Pee Wee.
There's no basement at the Alamo.
I don't want to be clowned. I call.
We need a hard.
The small blind gives the telltale double tap of his cards, says good call, and that he needed a heart on the river, and I win my first San Antonian poker chips. The very next hand, a middle position player opens to $10, and I look down at something else playable. Very playable. Ace Queen of Diamonds. And I decide to put in a 3-bet to $30. Action folds around to the opener, and he calls the extra 20. Heads up, we see a pretty decent flop in Ace Queen 10. Flopping top 2 is always welcomed. I do wish the board wasn't monotone though. With a flop like this, you never really feel like you're out of the woods unless you improve to a boat. Surprisingly though, I'm not checked to. Instead, the middle position player leads out into me for half pot. The way our ranges interact, I have way more flop flushes and straights than he does, so him leading out into me, peculiar. That being said, me raising here is suicidal, so I find the call. He does slow down and check when the turn 6 of hearts falls, and similar to the flop, I don't really have a strong urge to bet. Sure, I protect my hand from a river spade, but most likely, I'd just be betting to get him to fold weaker hands. If the spade comes, it comes, and we will deal with that then. But for now, my hope is that he rivers a pair, or maybe even 2 pair, and will pay off a river bet. I check. The river 7 of clubs means that if he was stabbing with a flush draw on the flop, he missed. In fact, the 7 probably misses everything, but since there are no more streets of play, something has to happen here. The middle position player checks, and with about $120 in the pot, I bet $75, hoping to get called by a pair with a flush draw, or maybe pocket 9s that just doesn't believe me. Neither happens. He flashes pocket 5s, and they hit the muck. Another orbit or so later, 2 limps to me, and we look down at our favorite unpaired piece of shit, the Ace King of Diamonds. Hate it or not, we aren't limping with it, and I make it 25 to go from the small blind. Luckily, we didn't really have to do any pokering with it, as both opponents, probably sensing my anger from peeling these 2 cards, just fold. Here, under the gun opens to $15, and as standard, 2 people call for middle position. I look down at ace-5 suited and decide to put in a squeeze to $105.
Raise. Too much, sir. 105.
In these games, you realize pretty quickly that everyone likes to call everything. All the pots are multi-way, which is neither good or bad. You obviously win fewer pots, but the ones you win are inflated, so it's kind of a wash. They assume 3-betting is very value-based and more so for larger 3-bets. One guy at the table even exclaims, "Too much, sir."
Raise. Too much, sir. 105.
As he assumes that all bets of this type are for value and could never be bluffs. The squeeze works. Kind of. The under the gun and first caller fold. And the last caller, well, he decides to get his last $29 in the middle anyway. I expose my hand and he shows me ace-9 of clubs. Unfortunately for him, the board runs out very favorable for me as I river a flush and scoop this one. I'm showing this clip just to show that there are bomb pots that happen every dealer change at this establishment. This is of the $5 double board no limit hold'em variety. No real need to dig into this hand because I don't win bomb pots. Hell, I rarely even make a pair in bomb pots. I do love bomb pots though, and one of these days, I'll win one. With the table momentarily shorthanded, I decide to open ace-10 offsuit to $15 from the under the gun spot, which is effectively the low jack position at the moment. The only action received is from the big blind, and we go to the flop heads up. Ace-King 3 rainbow. The big blind checks to me, and I fire a $20 c-bet into this board, holding top pair and a pretty decent kicker. The big blind calls. The turn brings the jack of hearts and the big blind checks. I picked up a gut shot to go along with my top pair and decide to slide this hand into a bet check bet line and possibly get our opponent to bluff at it on the river. The river reveals the 7 of diamonds and our opponent does just that. He now leads for $30 and I quickly find the call, very proud of myself that my turn check induced him to bluff on the river. The only problem is he wasn't bluffing and he shows ace-3 of clubs for a flop 2 pair and wins this one. One limp to me in the hijack, and I bump it up to $15 with 6-7 suited. Action folds around to the limper, and he finds the call. With only 2 of us in play, I flop the stone nuts on the 3-4-5 with 2 spades board, and our opponent stays in flow and checks. Looking at the board, I really don't need to protect against much except spades. I bet another $15, and he finds the call. The turn king of clubs hopefully gives him a pair, and he checks again. Keeping the pressure on, I bet $60 here, and although he tanks for a bit, he finds another call. The river pairs the king, and our opponent checks once more. The propensity for players to check back the river in these spots normally leans full houses and trips towards betting the river out of position as opposed to check raising. Plus, if he had a set or flop 2 pair, I probably would have heard from him earlier. Missed flush draws aren't going to call me no matter what I bet. So now I'm trying to get value from single pair type hands that may believe that I missed the draw. I bet $125 and he tanks for a while. Decides to call, sees that I flopped it, and mucks his hand. early position, I look down at pocket fives with an open to $15 in front of me. I call. The cutoff calls behind me and action folds to the big blind. Short stacked, he pushes all in for $81. The original opener folds, and both myself and the cutoff call the additional $66. Heads up, we go to the flop with one person all in and nothing in the side pot. Flop, 7 of diamonds, jack of hearts, deuce of diamonds, or in other words, a big nothing for me. I check, and the cutoff bets $65. Easy fold. The turn comes a 9 of clubs, and the river comes the 8 of diamonds. The all-in big blind reveals his hand to be ace 4 of hearts, and the cutoff wins this one with 4-7 suited.
So while the big boys play the big boy game, Jamin's tired.
Tired man. You're working,
Jamin's
man.
tired. We're working. It's been a long day. I've been up since 5 this morning.
We are here.
We are here.
We're in Texas.
So that is it. I think day 1 is in the books. We're going to sit here at the bar. We're going to have some drinks. Might have some food. It's been a long day for me. So in the 1-2 game for 800, out for 1,051. And now it's time to head back to the hotel room. It is time to get some sleep after a drink. We are getting ready to start the 5-5 No Limit Rounders live stream, which I'm sure will end up playing much, much larger than 5-5.
Tens. Gonna bump it up a little bit. Oh, she called. She called Yaya.
Is that right where Jamin raised with the queen 3 of clubs from the hijack?
It is in Texas. Yeah. I mean, if you're not prepared for a 5-5 game in Texas, you shouldn't be here, right, Jamie? I mean, come on.
Raise king. As if this game needed any more excitement.
I've kind of lucked out because I got this wild guy on my right. That guy. In that live stream game for $3,000. Out for... Good morning. It is Wednesday, February 16th. I am headed to the airport to head to San Antonio because it's me and Lane. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go meet my buddy Tom at the bar. We're probably going to have a drink. Then I'm going to head to the hotel room because I got to turn around and we got to be back here at 2 tomorrow. So if you like the videos, oh, I forgot to wrap it up. In the game, in the 1-2 game for 800, out for 1,051. So, if you like the videos, hit subscribe, leave me a comment, I'll probably respond, and all that good stuff. And I will catch you tomorrow.